16, I grew up in a village in Buckinghamshire. In fact, it was so small you could walk from one end to the other in 2 minutes. Even quicker if you're not wearing stilettos and drinking the old Bacardi breezers. I did warn you, Dad. So there was a party happening in the village across the road from my house, and I went to the party and a boy took a liking to me. His name was Rupert. He was so adorable, really, really sweet, really well dressed, red jumper, yellow trousers, checked yellow scarf to match. Nicky got it. A little furry white ears. He was a dream. And Rupert asked me if I would like to go for a walk. And I said yes, I would. So I started to walk. And then Rupert called me and he said, Sarah, what are you doing? I said, I'm going for a walk. He said, no, silly, I meant, do you want to go for a walk with me? What is it about men and communication? So we went for this walk, but I'm not being funny, I felt a bit misled. It wasn't really a walk, it was more like a giant step. Tragedy! So we stepped fans out there. Yeah, and we end up by this barn, by a beautiful lake, and there are ducks, and I think this is so romantic, it looks really scenic. I love romance. I watch all the television dating shows. Does anybody watch Dinner Date?
Yeah.
Just say yes to humour me.
Yeah.
It's such a popular show. Maybe I'm the only one that watches it. But so the concept, there's a guy or a girl and he picks 3 menus, and those 3 menus belong to 3 girls, and he goes to the girls' houses and cooks them the dinner. Then out of those menus and the girls, they get to go for a meal that she or he hasn't had to cook. And it's lovely because they always end up in the Wetherspoons. So I was actually on a television dating show many years ago. Does anybody remember Blind Date?
Yeah.
It wasn't that one. Spoiler alert. But it replaced Blind Date. It was called Love on a Saturday Night, hosted by Davina McCall, who is lovely. She's so lovely. Sorry, not such a bitch. She's not a bitch. She really is lovely, annoyingly. But with Blind Date, you remember Blind Date? So you had a guy behind the screen and 3 girls on the other side, and the guy just had to ask the girls questions before deciding which girl he's going to take on the date. See, back then, things were so much more innocent, weren't they? None of this being naked malarkey. Although I was naked when I watched Blind Date. It was my birthday. I had cake and everything. One of those big cardboard ones. Chesney Hawkes popped out. Said, you are the one and only. So that was nice. But the show I was on, Love on a Saturday Night, well, completely different to Blind Date, so get that idea out of your head. Love on a Saturday Night, we're already on the date. Regent's Park is the location. And the guy they've chosen for us out of hundreds, maybe thousands of candidates, he's handsome, good looking, he's got the Prince Charming vibe. Bullshitter. And for the purpose of this story, which is a true story, I'm going to call him Brad, because that's his name. And us 3 girls, we've got to wear masks, and I'm thinking, oh, Brad's got a fetish. Turned out that was the format of the show. A bit embarrassing. I brought my John Major party mask from my children's entertainer days. Whole new meaning to a political party. Yeah. But these masks that us girls have got to wear, they're different colours, red, green and blue. So we look like escaped traffic lights. And depending which colour we are wearing, we've got a nickname to match. So Miss Sapphire, blue mask, Miss Emerald, green mask, and I'm wearing the red mask, so I'm Miss Tomato. And and Brad and I, we have to feed the ducks. That's our day. Obviously there's no budget, at least the ducks got fed. You'd think, if they bothered to turn up. I think they were thinking, oh, don't want to be on this shit show. Let's go to Starbucks. Or as I like to call it, Star Ducks. I make myself laugh. Yeah. And then Brad and I, we play frisbee, and Brad asks me a question. He says, Miss Tomato, yes, Brad. He says, now, what really terrifies you right now? And I said, oh, well, to be honest, what terrifies me right now is, well, because I'm quite slim and I've got this red mask on, I'm a bit nervous that the BFG might come over and swoop me and think I'm a lollipop. Because we all have those thoughts, don't we? Yeah. And then I asked Brad a question. I said, Brad, will you marry me? Too soon? Second date, isn't it? Yeah, Dawn knows. Second date. Dating guru over there. Yeah. But then I do ask Brad a question. I say, I say to Brad, if you were a flower, what type of flower do you think you'd be? And Brad said, self-raising flower! He's witty, isn't he? Oh, that's not his voice. That's the voice I do when I'm trying to sell helium balloons. And then Brad goes on to say, that's a bloody stupid question. What type of flower do you think I'd be? Oh, he's very keen to know. Oh, and that voice is the voice I use when I'm trying to sell credit cards. Yes. And I say, Brad, as you're so keen for me to tell you what kind of flower I think you'd be, I will tell you. I think you'd be a pansy. Because they're pretty. And then I don't see Brad till the next day. We're in the studio, and in the end he chose Miss Emerald, and they got to go to Mauritius. I was green with envy. See what I did there? They lived happily ever after, though. Separately. But I wish Brad well, because, you know, we all deserve love, and when he comes out of prison, I'm sure love will be just on his doorstep. I do go and visit him sometimes. At the window, I wave at him. Yeah, with my John Major mask on. And a bouquet of pansies. I'm so flirtatious. Yeah. Anyway, this takes me back to when I was 16 and I'm with Rupert by the barn. And Rupert, he kisses me. He kisses me. It was my first kiss. I'm 16. I'm thinking, oh my God, what do I do? So I kissed him back. Support local. Very important. Anyway, we're kissing and there's froth and there's saliva, there's foam going on. I know, Claire knows. And I feel like I'm experiencing some washing machine spin, except there's no comfort. Not a pun. There is a link to why I keep pointing at Dean. Anyway. Yeah, and then I find I'm sort of doggy paddling, you know, trying to get some air. And then I'm praying to God that David Hasselhoff would glide by and rescue me, because I feel like I'm drowning. And I say to Rupert, Rupert, do you mind if we go back to the party? He said, I don't mind. I said, okay. So we started to walk back to where the guests were. I say guests, there were 9 guests, and 7 of them were ducks. And as we're approaching, they're clapping and cheering for me. I thought, this is nice. Now, being a performer, the default to me is to curtsy or bow. I think I do both. I thought, well, this is lovely. Anyway, the next day, I found out the reason they're all clapping and cheering for me is because Rupert had made a bet with his friends that he could get me into bed.
Oh.
I know. I said to Rupert, I love bed. Why did you not tell me? I would have loved a day trip to Dreams, the bed shop. And he said, oh my gosh, you're so naive. And I said, okay, DFS. I do sofas. Yeah. And then Rupert said again, oh my gosh, you're so naive. And I said, yeah, you've already said that, Rupert. Anyway, I went to Dreams, the bed shop by myself. And I shagged Ian, the sales assistant.